What is going on, YouTube? We are back with another 240 video. Right now I am sitting in my living room on the floor. I have my entire new chassis harness, as you can see, and I'm going through. I have a wiring diagram, and I'm going through and labeling literally each plug-in connector, so I know what each thing is. That way, when I go to put this harness in, I'm not trying to figure out where shit goes. Like, I already have a pretty good idea. I have a whole diagram on my laptop that shows me what each thing is and where it goes. So we're maybe a third of the way done labeling everything, but I need to go to this section next. I started here and I made it here, and that stuff got confusing. So I started working my way back because the back's pretty simple. So yeah, we're working through that right now. Probably gonna end up putting it in a couple days when it's nice outside. I'm not really in a rush to put the new harness in because I'm still waiting for other parts before I can really drive it. So yeah, that's about it for me for now. All right, so we got all of the wiring harness figured out, and right now we are in the car and I'm pulling the dash. It's really not that hard, it's just a couple 10 mils. I also have to pull this fucking makeshift switch panel apart so I can get the dash out. And then we're gonna put the new harness in. Oh, there's a cut wire right there. That's not good. I wonder if that's my starting issue. We'll figure it out once we get this pulled. This hacked up shit that I'm sure you guys have seen before. You can see all this fucking... These wires that are literally just electrical taped together. That is part of the engine harness. And I got a new chassis harness. So, those will not be replaced by the new harness I have. So I have a bunch of connectors, and I'm gonna go through each wire and first of all make sure they're actually connected, and second of all connect them the right way with connectors, not fucking whatever the hell this is, this jank together shit with electrical tape, and make it a lot nicer and neater. We are making progress on our wiring. This is still kind of a mess down there, don't look at that. But look what we have here. A cluster! And so far the clock works. I don't have the rest of this shit hooked up yet. I mean, it's plugged in the back, but it's not actually, let me get this focus. It's not actually connected to where it plugs into. Like the rest of the harness isn't plugged in, but it's becoming a real car. Just a little update on our wiring. You can see how much shit I've cut out. I'm trying to get rid of this janky stuff. I cut out all of the janky wires that were going to the ignition. So now we have just OEM wires. And right now we're in the process of figuring out what this stuff is connected to and deleting that. As you can see, there's a lot less loose wires in here because there is an entire lower transmission harness that we didn't need. This is all junk. This is going right in the trash. I don't need any of that. It wasn't even connected to anything. The wiring is done. It is now time to reconnect the battery and see if this thing catches on fire because I wired something wrong, which is probably a good chance. I have the hatch up and I'm gonna leave the hood popped just in case something goes terribly wrong. I have a fire extinguisher. Okay, I don't know if you guys are gonna think this is dumb, but I think this is the coolest thing ever. So watch. Door is closed, right? Door is closed, no noise. Put the key in, turn the key, open the door. That's so sick. All right, so it's very sketchy, and I don't really like it. But for now, this is gonna be our push button start. Because the key is not working, and I need to get this thing moving. So that is gonna be our starter button. Definitely very sketchy, and like I said, I don't like doing this, but I need to get this thing moving, so that's all we can do. All right, time for first start off the new wiring. That's not good. So all the wiring is done, but for some reason I cannot get this thing to start to save my life. I'm getting a jump box just in case maybe the battery is dead, because I mean it's dead now from me cranking it over. So maybe it's just not charged enough to get it to start. It hasn't started in like a month and a half, so that's totally possible. So we're gonna try a jump box and see if that works. If that doesn't work, then we're pretty screwed. Back to diagnosis. All right, so I went to go mess with the 240 again, and it turns out I left the fuel pump on all night. So the fuel pump is, there's probably a 95% chance the fuel pump is junk now, which is great, just wonderful. I'm so happy that I did that. So now I'm gonna go charge the battery and see if the fuel pump's actually fucking junked. Like, so cooked. All right, new fuel pump is in. I forgot to video, but just gotta put in our screws for the mounting bracket, and we're good. All right, we have progress. I fixed the clutch safety switch, and now cranks with the key. All right, so it turns out the no start issue was related to the secondary ignition switch the previous owner wired, because that ignition switch goes to the relay that controls power to the ECU. So the reason I had no spark is because the thing that goes into the relay was in the wrong spot. So essentially, I was getting no power to the ECU, so obviously I was getting no spark. Now you can see in my last clip that we actually got the car running. It runs terribly. I pulled some codes off the ECU. They were not very much help at all, to be honest. So I'm gonna go through, check for leaks and shit, figure out why it's misfiring and not running right. I got a code for the ignition, so I'm wondering if it might be something ignition related, but we'll find out. All right, I found a ground that was not like connected properly, so let's see if that fixes the problem. Okay, time to crank. The fuck? Now I have no crank signal. What the fuck? The wire for the clutch safety switch was... I need to get all this shit out of the way. The wire for the clutch safety switch was in the way of making contact, so that's why we had no start. still got nothing. What the fuck? Huh. Weird. Attempt 5,000. What the fuck? Huh. Okay. Attempt to start again. Fuel pump wasn't on. Idiot. Not great. Alright, so just for shits, I'm going back to the old spark plugs because I compared them and they are not quite the same for some reason. They look a little different. Let me find it. If you look, this is the spark plug from cylinder 1 and it looks like it is not fired at all. Like if you look at one of these, this is a cylinder 2 spark plug. You can see that little browning, but this one is still silver. So it looks like cylinder 1 spark plug is never fired, which makes sense. It was running on 3 cylinders. So let's see if putting the old plugs back in works. If not, I'm gonna replace that plug wire. All right, first start with the old plugs back in. No, I don't think that cylinder's sparking at all. Okay, I put the new plug wire on. Let's try it now. Nothing. Fuck. Oh, I'm an idiot. Nope, that's worse. That's worse. Fuck. What the fuck? Alright, so we were getting the ignition issue from the ECU. So I replaced the distributor cap, the rotor, and the plug wires. So let's see, try to start it up now and see how it goes and what it does. All right, you ready? Nothing. Fuck. Okay, upon further review, the car is back to running on 3 cylinders. I tested all of the plugs, and this one plug that looked clean was not sparking on any of the other wires, so I think the plug was just bad. I checked the old plug, and if you look, these plugs I ordered are a little longer than the old ones. So I went to the auto parts store and I got a whole new set of plugs that I'm sitting on. And those are the exact part number of the old plugs. So we're gonna throw those in and hopefully it works. All right, attempt 2, making it to the garage. I made it into the garage. Well, I made it into the garage driveway. And right as I went to pull into the garage, I blew a brake line. So today we have to fix that rear brake line. It's only like a foot long section. That's not bad. I'm also putting on my coilovers, fixing my motor mounts, and trying to get this thing street drivable. I have a lot to do, so let's hop right to it. All right, guys, next day, I didn't get a lot of recording done yesterday because my buddies were helping me out and I was just trying to grind shit out. But we got the new brake line in. It doesn't leak and the brakes are bled, so that's good. I also mounted my sway bar because it was just hanging there. There was no like metal mounts that mount to the subframe. So I mounted that, and I also got the coilovers installed. Hold on, let me switch cameras. So if you look in here, you can see my brand new coilovers. They are ISR coilovers. And let me get to the other side. I did the front and back. They're adjustable in the front and the back. Here's our box. As you can see, the back ride height is actually pretty good for what I'm looking for. I want like a nice like streetable height for now until I get better wheels. So the back is perfect, but you can see the front looks jacked up. It looks like it's on a jack right now, but it's on the ground. This is the front ride height right now. So I need to lower the front quite a bit. I think I'm gonna leave it lifted for now because I have to do my engine mount. And to do my engine mount, I have to put a jack under the car, and when it was really slammed, I'm doing both engine mounts. But when it was really slammed, I couldn't fit the jack under there to jack up the motor. So I'm going to do the engine mounts first, and then I'm going to fix the ride height. After we get that done, what else do I have to do? That's I have to replug in all the wiring for the transmission, so I have a speedometer. I might have to do some splicing there. And then I need to mount my bumpers, get the ride height dialed in, mount my bumpers, get the lights to work, hopefully, and, oh yeah, the big thing of finding out why it's still misfiring. So, a lot of work to do. We're gonna hop right into it. All right, so I just want to show you guys something. Oh, shit. So I'm doing my motor mounts, right? If you see down in there was that much play. That's how loose the bottom part of the motor mount was. That's why the engine was moving, because the motor mount just wasn't tight. I guess engine mounts are actually like ridiculously easy to do. I had no idea it would be so easy, but here we are. All right, coilovers are adjusted. It should be square height all the way around. This is what we're looking with in the front. I went with the not slammed approach because, I don't know, I live where I live, there's a shit ton of potholes, and I've never driven a car that wasn't at stock height. So we're gonna start here. I'm gonna get used to driving at this height, and then we'll go lower. Right now, I just need to make this thing drive normally. So the last thing I need is to bottom this thing out and fuck something up. Now I am just buttoning a couple things up. I'm going to smoke test it for leaks next. And I'm finding a couple missing bolts. So I've got a bunch of bolts and I'm trying to find one that fits. All right, so we got both bumpers installed. They're just on there with zip ties. They're not actually hard mounted. Fit is decent. I'll take a better video when I get it outside. I also put the back seat in, and right now I'm cleaning up all of the junk. So it actually looks like an actual car again, and there's not shit everywhere. All right, guys, so you saw in that last clip, 240 is running and driving. It actually runs surprisingly well. The problem ended up being the new injectors I bought. I bought them off Rock Auto, and they were junk. I replaced two of the injectors weren't working. I replaced the injectors with the old injectors, and the car started and ran fine. Really happy with the new coilovers. The new coilovers feel amazing. Like, the ride quality is really good. The poly engine mounts, not sure how I feel about those yet. It does vibrate a lot, so we might go back on those. We might put something else in there down the line. But really happy with the progress we're making on the car. It's actually a car now. Next steps are getting things like brake lights, turn signals, that kind of stuff working, and making it just comfortable and legal. Seat belts. I need to do seat belts, definitely. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep updated with the build. And make sure you like and comment if you like the video. Talk to you guys later.